I would like to thank you all for coming out on our maiden voyage back in-person council meetings. I know that we all are excited up here, and I hope that you all are excited out there. So the first item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would like to ask Jonathan Copsey to lead us in the pledge. I just saw him. There you are. Would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Copsey. The first item on the agenda this evening is the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Motion by Councilmember Tizer. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Judy. All those in favor, please raise your hands. And it passes unanimously. Thank you. The next item is the reading of a proclamation for National Public Safety Telecommunications Week, April 11th through the 17th. And I see some of our wonderful 911 folks out there. So, and I'm so excited that we're back in person again because we get to take pictures and all kinds of stuff. So let me put my glasses on. Okay. This is National Public Safety Telecommunications Week, April 11th through the 17th, in association with National 911 Education Month. Whereas in 1967, the President's Commission on Law Enforcement and Administration of Justice recommended that a single number should be established nationwide for reporting emergency situations. 1 year later, in 1968, the American Telephone and Telegraph Company, AT&T, announced that it would establish the digits 911 as the emergency code. And whereas the 911 system is the connection between the eyes and ears of the public and the emergency response team in the United States, and is often the first to know of any emergencies of all magnitudes, making 911 a significant Homeland Security asset. And whereas in 1986, the city of Roswell went live with our first 911 system. Roswell 911 Center currently has 30 dedicated personnel consisting of communication officers, training officers, management, and a Georgia Crime Information Center. And whereas the safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and the accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the City of Roswell E911 Communications Center. And whereas public safety telecommunications are the first step and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services and often provide a lifeline to the caller where seconds and minutes matter. And whereas the City of Roswell's 911 staff is proud to support their mission statement in their everyday duties, our dedicated employees provide excellent service utilizing life-saving instructions through best practices in the public safety communications industry. Now therefore, I, Lori Henry, Mayor of the City of Roswell, Georgia, hereby declare the week of April 11th through the 17th to be National Public Safety Telecommunications Week in Roswell, Georgia, and ask all of our citizens to acknowledge and honor the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our city and citizens safe. Let's hear it for our 911 officers. And I would love for you all to come forward if you would like to say anything. We are here to listen, but if you don't have anything to say, we'd love to have a picture with you. We just want to be associated with you.
Just. All right, smile. Thank you.
They are keeping us safe every day. We have a great debt of gratitude. Yeah, we don't want to punish them. Thank you again. The next item on the agenda is the approval for the mayor to sign a letter of support to Congresswoman Lucy McBath, 6th Congressional District, for submission of projects for the community projects funding request. Mr. Fisher.
Thank you, Mayor Henry, and hello, council members. It's very nice to be able to stand here before you and speak. I will tell you my desk chair is more comfortable than the wooden pew, but standing here in front instead of being in a Zoom is more comfortable than not. So this item is in fact for a letter. Councilmember Lucy McBath's office reached out to all the cities in the 6th district and invited us to put together projects to submit for the community project funding program. I believe each representative gets 10 projects that they can choose or not to fund. We've talked with our departments, Recreation and Parks, Historical and Cultural Affairs. The Police Department and Environmental Public Works have all submitted applications for projects. The projects are listed there in your book. Recreation and Parks has the A-Sand project and the Docks Cafe renovation. The Police Department has submitted for consideration the 911 Call Center Emergency Operations Center, the Flock Safety ALPR system, and the expansion of the Citizens Police Academy. And then the Environmental Public Works Department has submitted for consideration the emergency standby generator at the Roswell Water Treatment Facility and the galvanized steel water line replacement project. So each one of those projects have been submitted into the portal for consideration. April 16th is the deadline for all the cities to get those in, and then Representative Congresswoman McBath will be looking at those, and I believe she has to make her decisions by April 30th. What this item is for is requesting for a motion to approve the mayor to sign a letter of support to Congresswoman McBath for submission of these projects for the community project funding request.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. And don't we have a website to go on to support our projects with Congresswoman McBath?
There is a website. You can find that on our web page. It's in this packet. It's an extremely long one just to put up there, but they can find that website. And we've put out press releases in phases as each section of the projects have come out to kind of remind the citizens to, please go on to the portal and show your support. I think the more that the Congresswoman sees of support, the more likely she might be to take a hard look at those particular projects.
I was looking for another opportunity to get our citizens involved and ask them to go on the website and weigh in on the project.
Absolutely.
So we are hopeful that Congresswoman McBath will bring home the bacon.
That's right.
And we've got a lot of great projects on there, and we are a very large part of her district. So I'm hoping for positive results. So I would like to ask for a motion to approve. Councilmember Tizer.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Tizer. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, by, I think I had 3 seconds. Councilmember Wilsey, Judy, and Zapata. All those in favor, please raise your hands. And it passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All.
The next item, and I know that you all have been waiting for this one all night because this is pretty exciting stuff. The recognition of the City of Roswell receiving the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for FY 2021 budget from the Government Finance Officers Association. Mr. Lockett.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here this evening to recognize our budget staff for their commitment to achieving excellence on behalf of the city. The city has received the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award from the Government Finance Officers Association for the FY 2021 budget. This award reflects the city's commitment to meeting the highest principles of government budgeting. The award also affirms how well the city budget serves as a policy document, a financial plan, an operations guide, and a communications device. The city had to be rated at least proficient in each of these areas, as well as 14 other mandatory criteria. And this is the 17th consecutive year that the city has received this award. This award would not be possible without the dedication of our budget staff, including Harpreet Hora, who leads our budget division, as well as our analysts, Lynn Williams and Lacey Smith Castillo. And I did want to point out that this same team really kicked it up a notch this past year when they transformed the city's budget document into an interactive online tool, making Roswell one of the first local governments in the country to have an interactive online budget document. And that by itself was a really huge accomplishment for them and for the city. Finally, I'd like to thank the mayor and council and our city administrator for their continued support and commitment to adhering to best practices when it comes to local government finance. So thank you all very much. Thank you, Mayor.
I would like to say we're very fortunate in Roswell that these awards have become the norm. And, you know, I don't want you to feel as though we have appreciated you less. We appreciate you more and more every year that you all win these awards. And thank you for keeping us at the top of all of our sister cities in North Fulton. Thank you so much. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the resolution to authorize the mayor to execute all documents for a Georgia Transportation Infrastructure Bank loan in the amount not to exceed $5 million to fund additional road resurfacing and approval of budget amendment 360. So, and I would like you to, the reason I pulled this off the consent agenda, and the reason why I did that is I think that it's very exciting that we've got $5 million to put toward road resurfacing. So, Mr. Luckett, could you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. So back in October, you all approved the submission of a loan application to the Georgia Transportation Infrastructure Bank for $5 million to put towards additional road resurfacing. That loan was approved this past February. So this is a one-time infusion of resources to add to the amount of resurfacing that will be done this year. You all approved an additional $2 million in city match back at the mid-year budget amendment. So all told, this fiscal year, there'll be just over $8 million devoted to road resurfacing this fiscal year. So this is a loan program through the state. It's a state agency, the State Road and Tollway Authority. The loan is the amount of $5 million. It's at an interest rate of 1.22% for a term of 15 years, with annual debt service estimated about $365,000 to be paid from the general fund. So this item is just authorizing us and the mayor to execute all the documents, and I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Council have any questions? Is there anyone in the public that would like to come forward and speak? Well, I'll bring it back to council for a motion and a second, but I would like to take this time to thank you all. You've done a great job. You keep us apprised of these funds that are out there. 1.22, I mean, really? When's the last time we saw this? But, you know, this is awesome. And thank you for staying on top of this. So do I have a motion? Motion by Councilmember Wilsey. Do I have a second? Second by Councilmember Hall. All those in favor, please raise your hands. And it passes unanimously. Thank you again. Yeah, they deserve a hand. Next on the agenda is Community Development Department, and I'll defer to Councilmember Hall. I would like to say the next two items on the agenda will be, there's requested deferrals, but just in the event that someone is here to speak on those items, I will ask Councilmember Hall to call them, and I will ask for public comment if there's someone that's here that can't come back in the future when we will hear the full presentation. Councilmember Hall.
Thank you, Mayor Henry. Item number 5, PV 2020-5122-280, 300, 310, and 320 Crossville Road, Parkway Village. Variance request to Section 10.2.3, Neighborhood Compatibility Buffer. Reduce the buffer from 150 feet to 40 feet. The applicant has requested a deferral to the June 4th, 2021 Mayor and Council meeting.
Yes,
Oh, I'm sorry, June 14th.
the applicant had requested a deferral to the June 14th meeting. They do have a neighborhood meeting that is scheduled and set up for Thursday, May 13th with the neighbors. So, and that is why they requested a deferral to the June meeting.
Thank you very much. Is there, I would like to ask council if they have any questions for staff regarding this request for a deferral. Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak on this topic, even though we won't be hearing it per se this evening? It will come back to us on the 14th. Do I have a motion for deferral?
Mayor Henry, I make a motion to defer.
We've got a motion by Councilmember Hall. Do I have a second? Second by Councilmember Wilsey and Judy. All those in favor, please raise your hands. And it passes unanimously. I will apologize to you all again. This plexiglass, I'm getting this kind of a weird mirror thing going on. And also, since we've had Zoom meetings, all I had to do before is stare at the screen and I could see. But now I've got to get back in the swing of moving my head back and forth, so I apologize if I'm missing anyone. Councilmember Hall, back to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 6, approval of RZ 2020-5110-11370 Crabapple Road, rezone RS 30 to Civic, Roswell Community Masjid, LLC. Staff is requesting a deferral to the May 10th, 2021 Mayor and Council meeting in order to correct a sign location issue.
Yes, staff has requested a deferral to May 10th.
Thank you. Does council have any questions about this deferral? Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak about this? And once again, that will move forward in the future. So do I have a motion?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to move this item to the May 10th, 2021 meeting.
We've got a motion by Councilmember Hall. Do I have a second? Second by Councilmember Judy. All those in favor, please raise your hands. And it passes unanimously. Back to you, Councilmember Hall.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 7, approval of a conditional use CU 20210043 at 750 Old Roswell Road, Miyagi, Wash.
Thank you. Mr. Turner.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Good to see you all in person again. Our item at 750 Old Roswell Road is a conditional use for a car wash. Here's the location of the property, not too far from Holcomb Bridge Road. Property zone CX, as are all the properties that they are adjacent to and across the street. The character area is the Alpharetta Highway, Highway 9 commercial corridor. This is the current site plan for the property. The applicant does not intend to actually change or do any site work. The building is vacant, but it was originally used as an oil change facility, so they intend to use it as is and move in. Planning Commission recommended approval, and staff recommends approval. Any questions for staff?
Does council have any questions? No questions from council. Is there anyone in the public that would like to come forward and speak? Seeing no one come forward, do I have a motion?
Yes, Mayor Henry, I'd like to make a motion to approve item 7, approval of the conditional use CU.
We've got we've got a motion to approve. Do we have a second? Second by Councilmember Tyser. All those in favor, please raise your hands. And it passes unanimously. Thank you. Councilmember Hall.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 8, approval to remove condition from RZ 202000152, CV 202000153, 10980 Westside Parkway Hotel.
Ms. Dybel.
Yes, this is to remove a condition pertaining to public art from the rezoning that happened in 2020 at 10980 Westside Parkway. So the approval contained 3 conditions at the time. The third one, as you can see, has been stricken out in red to remove the public art condition. The money has been donated and paid by the applicant to the city, and the finance department does have it. So the rest of the condition related to placing public art on there. However, as brought forward, this would remove that condition. Do you have any questions? Staff recommends approval of the removal of the condition. Do you have any questions?
Council have any questions? Yes, Councilmember Palermo.
Thank you, Mayor Henry. So, Ms. Dybel, you actually answered this in a question I have for you, but I just want to confirm. It was based on the discussion we had at committee. So, to be clear, this request is not doing anything besides just removing this. There's nothing else being done, just deleting this so that they no longer have to comply with this condition?
That is correct.
Excellent. And the applicant has requested this removal of the amendment or of the condition?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you.
Additional questions from council? Is there anyone in the public that would like to come forward and speak? Seeing no one approach, do we have a motion?
Yes, Mayor Henry, motion to approve item number 8.
We've got a motion by Councilmember Hall. Do I have a second? Second by Councilmember Wilsey. All those in favor, please raise your hands. And it passes unanimously. Thank you. Now we will turn it over to Public Safety. Councilmember Judy.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. We'll go to number 9, approval of a text amendment to Article 13.2, false alarms of the City of Roswell Code of Ordinances by repeal of sections 13.2.1 through 13.2.7. This is the second reading.
Mr. Davidson.
Thank you. This is an ordinance to amend Article 13.2, false alarms of the City of Roswell Code of Ordinances by repeal of sections 13.2.1 through 13.2.7 thereof and substituting a new ordinance therefore. Now therefore, the mayor and council do hereby enact the following ordinance repealing the old ordinance relating to false alarms and substituting instead a new ordinance to read as follows. The existing sections of Article 13.2, false alarms of the City of Roswell Code of Ordinances, Section 13.2.1 through 13.2.7 are hereby repealed. A new Article 13.2, false alarms of the City of Roswell Code of Ordinances is hereby enacted, the text of which is incorporated herein, and if approved, this will be the second reading.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. Take it away.
I just really wanted to say that this ordinance follows the Security Industry Alarm Coalition and the Georgia Association Chiefs of Police Model Ordinance. It is designed to reduce the amount of public safety resources utilized for alarms. I also wanted to state, just for reference, that in 2019, the Roswell Police Department alone answered 7,735. I say 2019 because we're trying to forget 2020. But the alarms were significantly reduced in 2020. So out of 7,735 alarms in 2019, 97.72% of them were false. So the false alarm ordinance is designed to hopefully reduce the amount of false alarms out there and increase awareness of the public.
Thank you very much. And I've had the conversation with the chief before that not only is this good as far as alleviating time from our police officers, but the other thing is police officers do get complacent with false alarms. and that could be very dangerous for them. So I would like our police officers to be in a better position that when they receive an alarm, that they know to take it seriously, and this isn't another false alarm. So I really appreciate you all bringing this forward. Does council have any questions? Councilmember Judy, did you have a question?
No.
Oh, sorry. Is there anyone in the public that would like to come forward and speak? Do we have a motion?
Yes, Mayor. Motion to approve number 9, public safety.
Motion to approve by Councilmember Judy. Do I have a second? Second by Councilmember Wilsey. All those in favor, please raise your hands, and it passes unanimously. Thank you both. Back to you, Councilmember Judy.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Number 10, approval of a resolution to establish fees to manage false alarms.
Take it away.
Thank you. So the Police Department and the Division of Emergency Communications request approval by Mayor and Council for a resolution to establish fees and administrative fines mandated by Article 13.2, the false alarm of the Code of Ordinance of the City of Roswell. The resolution shall be enacted upon the approval, which we just did, along with the false alarm management system contract, which will be presented at committee tomorrow. And I'm open for any questions.
Does council have any questions? Is there anyone in the public that would like to come forward and speak? Seeing no one approached, do I have a motion?
Yes, Mayor. Approval of number 10, public safety.
Motion for approval by Councilmember Judy. Do I have a second? Councilmember Tizer. All those in favor, please raise your hands. And it passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Next, I will turn this over to our city attorney, Mr. Davidson.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item I have is approval of a resolution to expand the Canton Street Restaurant District to include Oak Street to Forest Street. Currently, the restaurant district includes Oak Street, but it stops at Bush Street. This will just take it down Oak Street to Forest Street, if approved.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. Does council have any questions? Councilmember Palermo.
Thank you, Mayor Henry. Again, as stated at committee, it was Councilman Judy that brought this forward, and I certainly applaud that and support it. So, and really glad to see this happening, because the reason I think this is beneficial is just as when we had brought forward to move it originally to Oak Street, and there was initial hesitation or concern with moving it over Highway 9, but it was unanimously supported, and I'm glad this council did that. I think it's a really important goal just to continue to expand the walkable downtown, and by making this go even further down Oak Street all the way to Forest Street, I'm hoping does that, and I certainly support this initiative.
Thank you, Councilmember Palermo. Additional comments, questions from council? Is there anyone in the public that would like to come forward and speak? Yes, please come forward.
New microphone. Janet Russell, resident Roswell. I just would like to clarify this restaurant district and what it includes and allows, because from Oak Street to Forest Street to Canton Street now includes the City Hall property. Is that correct? It's
Yes.
within that district. So does this mean, because I'm unfamiliar with it, it doesn't mean just restaurants, it means actually alcoholic beverages, correct?
No, all this allows is people that have an alcohol license to allow people to carry outside of their business. This doesn't, it's not a free-for-all. It's basically, if you have an alcohol license, you can serve somebody a drink and they can carry it outside of your establishment
So that-
within this area.
So they could buy a cocktail on Oak Street, and they could carry it through the City Hall property. I just want to clarify that, because we don't have things real clear sometimes in our city. And they could wander around and continue enjoying their cocktail, sitting in the City Hall property, and then continue over to Canton Street or to wherever, down Highway 9, I guess, all the way to Hugo's now. So the drinkability is from Hugo's to Oak Street, and I think we've approved the same thing at the town square.
That's correct.
So basically, we're just saying everything from Hugo's on Highway 9 to the historic square, you can drink and walk.
No, all this.
Walk and drink if you
All
can.
this does is allow a restaurant to allow somebody to carry it out. This is not an open container law. This is simply the restaurant can allow somebody to walk
Right.
out with a drink. It
But they
doesn't
can't
mean-
control what that customer does with the alcohol.
That's correct.
Okay, so I'm just making it real clear in public that you could walk from Hugo's to Oak Street, having picked up a cocktail in Hugo's. They can't control it, and you could walk all the way down Highway 9, God willing, if you had a sidewalk, and you could get to Oak Street, and if you could, which right now is impossible because of Oxbow Road construction, walk to the town square and continue your cocktails. Just, I want to get the whole thing clear, because people ask me personally all the time, what is the rules? What are the rules? And I'm not a lawyer, and I like to be extremely clear with what is allowed in this city. I'm not against it, I want it clarified.
So the district is, it looks like there's a couple that do not go all the way down South Atlanta Street, so you couldn't go all the way down to the square. You couldn't go past Oxbow Road
Well,
anyway.
you can't go past there now.
Right.
Even
But you
hardly
couldn't-
in a car.
You couldn't even if you were,
Okay,
I mean, but all it is, it's for the business, it's not for the person walking with
I
a drink.
understand, but you know how people are. We have lovely, beautiful summer nights and people like to wander. Now, does this also include Mimosa Boulevard? Does that map? I don't have the map in front of me. Can they wander down from Canton Street all the way down Mimosa Boulevard and then all the way to this, they can't drink on Mimosa, but they can drink on 9?
Can someone on staff put the map on the overhead?
I think it would be very important to clarify it visually. Maybe that's what we could do, is give it out to customers in the restaurants and hand them this and say, here's your map, find your way home with your booze. Walk out with it, and then they might get hit crossing the street, and then we have our poor police who have to solve the problems, because I live on this corridor.
We still have public intoxication laws and other such laws.
Okay. We also have public safety, Mr. Davidson.
Exactly.
And public safety, I am aware of because I hear the sirens from morning till night because I live in the corridor. So I'm just curious, because this keeps expanding like a giant amoeba. And it's also Webb Street. Is it Webb Street? Is that which, Forest Street? That's right adjacent to our Roswell Housing Authority. So I just want to make sure. Thank you. Is the part that's dark, is that the district? Okay, so it's pretty much from Oak Street to the town square. Okay, well, it's getting bigger and bigger, and it's going to be interesting because I've seen drunk people crossing Highway 9 without a light. And if people weren't sober, then they would be, you know, we've got a brewery here and a brewery there, and we've got a wine and bottle shop there, and people like to do a pub crawl. And I've done those in England, but not where there was cars. So I'm just real concerned about this constant expansion. I understand it's only for the restaurants, and what you're doing is relieving them of liability. But it's not relieving anybody else of liability. They still have permission. Technically, I can bring a drink from home and walk all over all of Roswell with a cocktail. The entire city, not just a district, according to the law. I can bring a bottle of wine in the car and drink it from my car all over town. Okay, technically I've seen it. I've seen teenagers say that, yeah, we've got a case of beer in the car. We just park in the parking lot and then they don't care.
There are other laws that would.
I know, but we're talking about this one, so, okay, I just wanted to make sure because this keeps expanding and expanding and expanding.
Thank you, Ms. Russell. Is there anyone else in the public that would like to come forward to speak? I don't see anyone else approaching. Councilmember Palermo?
Yes, I just want to clarify, hopefully people saw it on the map, but the district actually does not go up to Yugos. So it ends basically, I believe, based on the map, where there's the Georgia-owned credit union, and there's a number of restaurants basically more north between Yugos and there, and it does not go up to Yugos or north of that. So I just want to give that clarification.
Thank you, Councilmember Palermo. Additional comments? Yes, Councilmember Zapata.
Thank you, Mayor. So is any chance to clarify the policy for drinking at the city hall grounds? Do we have any policy for drinking at the city hall grounds?
Again, this doesn't address that. This is simply allows a restaurant to allow somebody to walk out. If somebody walked across City Hall grounds with a beer from their house right now, unless they were publicly intoxicated, there's not a whole lot we could do. So this isn't addressing that. If you want to address that, then yes, we can draft something and have that addressed. But that's not what this is. This is simply a benefit to the restaurants.
I'm asking because I see in blue here, City Hall property, as the same of the restaurant district and the historic district. So I'm just curious to know why is blue City Hall, since there's not any business who sell alcohol or anything on City Hall grounds?
It's in order to make it all cumulative and to where it all is touching. But all this does is allow a restaurant to allow somebody to walk out with a drink.
So, Mr. Davidson, is there any reason why we couldn't change the City Hall property from blue to white, since we don't have a restaurant or a bar on this property?
That's fine, if council elects to do that.
Okay. Councilmember Palermo?
Thank you. I think another way to look at it, another way to understand how Mr. Davidson was describing it, is just basically, if your property is blue and you have a restaurant that is legally allowed to sell alcohol in the city of Roswell, then if you're on one of those blue properties, you're allowed to sell a to-go cup. And my preference would be City Hall, even though it's not a restaurant, just to leave it blue for the continuity. And also, frankly, for if there ends up being events in the future that have Alive in Roswell and other events that could be happening there with plastic cups, I think it makes sense for it to stay. And again, just hopefully supporting our restaurants in the area and hopefully creating just a more walkable downtown.
Councilmember Judy?
I tend to agree with Councilman Palermo. There's been events here in the past where there's been alcohol, people walked across here with alcohol, we could start making it very confusing if we take this out of that. You want people to park here, not drink and drive, but park here and they walk here with a drink and they're not driving. Somebody else is driving, then they get in the car and leave. So, I think taking this out, if we see a need for this, I think we're creating a problem where there isn't right now. If there's a problem that arises, then I think we should address it. But right now, I think this addresses what we were looking to do this evening.
Councilmember Hall?
Thank you, Mayor. I was just going to echo that. I believe the Cultural Arts Center is on that corner of the property, and they also sell beverages, alcoholic beverages at their events. So I would like to see it stay blue.
Additional comments from council? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve item number 11.
Motion to approve by Councilmember Judy. Do I have a second? Second by Councilmember Palermo. All those in favor, please raise your hands. And it passes unanimously. Back to you, Mr. Davidson.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item I have is approval for the mayor and/or city administrator to sign a renewal contract with Trident Insurance Services, LLC, in the amount not to exceed $1,151,957. An additional amount of $12,480 is requested for a standalone active shooter malicious act policy through Hiscox, and additional amounts of $2,500 for National Flood Insurance Program through American Bankers Insurance Company, and $25,000 for, $25,006, for cyber liability insurance through BCS Insurance Company for a total not to exceed $1,191,943. We recommend approval.
Council have any questions? Is there anyone in the public that would like to come forward and speak? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilmember Judy. Do I have a second? Second by Councilmember Wilsey. All those in favor, please raise your hands. And I would like to say it passes unanimously. However, Councilmember Palermo is not in attendance. Back to you, Mr. Davidson.
Thank you. The next item I have is approval of a resolution to establish a policy regarding placement of objects or structures as defined and set out in the Charter of the City of Roswell, Charter 2.20, Section 31, within the City of Roswell rights-of-way. This policy would establish a policy regarding placement of the objects or structures within the City of Roswell rights-of-way.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. Does council have any questions? Seeing no hands up, is there anyone in the public that would like to come forward and speak? Yes, sir. Please come forward.
There you go. Should be corona free, but do I take this off? Is that okay? Yeah. Mayor and Council, my name is David Johnson. I live at 3000 Roxford Drive. I'm also a board member of the Country Club of Roswell, Willow Springs HOA. It's good to see you all in person. So it's been a long year, and I'm glad we've gotten through it with your leadership, and appreciate all that you've done for this city during these unprecedented times. Our HOA in the past has been very frustrated with the inability to put things in the right of way. A guardhouse, security cameras, etc. This is a policy that is needed, and I'm very grateful that it's coming up to council vote. However, I do have one major concern. If I am wrong, please interrupt me and tell me I'm wrong. I feel like I'm just at home. It currently states that to place a structure object in the right of way, that we need 65% of the neighborhood homes to approve it. We are a 600 plus home HOA. Our last survey to purchase security cameras had 200 out of the 600 homes participate in the survey. Our annual elections, which have our highest turnouts, only get about 66% turnout of the 600 homes. So my concern is that if people decide not to civically involve themselves in HOA matters, are they going to count as a no vote when the HOA presents a survey to place an object, security camera, structure in the right of way? In fact, as an HOA, we'd be hard to function if we had this, if that's how we had a vote. I don't even think I'd be nominated on the board if, based on my last election turnout, if the people who didn't vote were considered no votes. The city government doesn't function this way either. In 2012, the city voted on a bond referendum for $14.7 million. 37,000 residents voted yes, or voted in the election with a 7% turnout. The bond passed easily with 65% of the vote, but it would have failed if people who didn't vote were considered no votes. Fulton County government recently passed T-SPLOS, and I can go through the numbers, but same thing. It would have failed if no votes, people who didn't vote were considered no votes. This policy is well overdue. It's necessary. It's very well written. I'm very happy with what the city has done. I just ask that you give us a chance, because we can't, if people don't want to involve themselves in the HOA, then they shouldn't have a say. 80% approval for our neighborhood for security cameras. I think that's a pretty high number. We will go door to door to get it done if we have to, but I really like if this ordinance was just adjusted a little bit to make it a little bit easier for us. That's all. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your leadership during this time.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else in the public that would like to come forward and speak? Seeing no one approach, do I have a motion? Councilmember Palermo.
I don't have a motion, but a more of a discussion. And so I think Mr. Johnson, certainly raises some good examples and concerns. And at the same time, I also have concerns with kind of rushing any change, because I feel like there definitely could be some potential negative consequences as well if an HOA or any neighborhood is doing something that ends up being unpopular with a majority of residents, and if we've created an ordinance that basically supports that and makes it tough to change, that's kind of, I guess, just a concern that I have that I want to raise, and certainly open to the thoughts of the council. But my probably initial preference would be to move it forward right now as is, but then perhaps at a committee or future discussions, et cetera, maybe try to fine tune and improve that. It's just I want to make sure we're being a little on the conservative side and not take any risks. That's my initial reaction, unless I hear from this council some things that I'm potentially missing.
Additional comments from council? Do I have a motion?
Mayor Henry, I'd like to make a motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Hall.
Motion to approve item number 13.
Motion to approve by Councilmember Hall. Do I have a second? Second by Councilmember Tizer. All those in favor, please raise your hands. And it passes unanimously. Thank you. Mr. Davidson.
Thank you. The final item I have is a recommendation for closure to discuss personnel, litigation, and real estate.
Do I have a recommendation for closure?
Motion to go to closure?
Motion by Councilmember Tizer. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Judy and Councilmember Wilsey. All those in favor, please raise your hands. And it passes unanimously. We are adjourned.